The message came 3 days before the wedding. Not a phone call, not a conversation. A message. Short, cold, final. Just to be clear, your adopted daughter won't be attending. It's an adults-only event. I stared at the screen until the words blurred. Adults only. My daughter, Lily, was 16. Old enough to understand rejection. Old enough to pretend it didn't hurt. Old enough to remember it forever. I read the message again, my thumb hovering over the keyboard. This was my sister's wedding. My only sister. And Lily was not just a guest. She was my child. I didn't argue right away. I didn't type an angry paragraph. I didn't call screaming. I just sat there quietly, letting the familiar feeling crawl up my spine. That feeling of being reminded, again, that my family saw Lily as optional. Different. Less. Lily walked into the kitchen a moment later, hair damp from her shower, wearing her oversized sweatshirt. She smiled softly. Was that Aunt Marissa? Her voice was hopeful. That hope cracked something in me. I forced a smile. She's just finalizing wedding details. Lily nodded, relaxed. I'm excited, she said. I already picked out a dress. The blue one you said looked nice. My chest tightened. I looked at her. At the girl I adopted at 9 years old, after the system had already taught her too many lessons about abandonment. She had asked me once, right after the papers were signed, so, you can't send me back, right? I had held her face and promised, never. You're mine forever. And I meant it, which is why this message felt like a threat. Not to her attendance, to her belonging. That night, after Lily went to bed, I called my sister. She answered on the second ring, voice bright. Hey, are you ready for the big day? I kept my voice calm. Marissa, what is this about Lily not being invited? There was a pause, then a sigh, like I was being difficult. Oh my God, don't make this a thing. A thing? I repeated. It's an elegant wedding, she said quickly. No teenagers. It's not personal. My grip tightened on the phone. She's my daughter. Marissa laughed lightly. Technically. The word hit like a slap. Technically. Not really. Not fully. Just technically. I swallowed hard. She's family. Marissa's tone sharpened. She's not blood, okay? And Mom agrees. We want the wedding to feel traditional. Traditional. Blood. Real family. I could hear voices in the background. Our mother. Laughing. And then my mother's voice came through, faint but clear. Tell her it's better this way. People will ask questions. Questions. About Lily. About why she wasn't real. My stomach turned. Marissa returned to the line. Look, just come alone. It's my day. Don't ruin it. I went quiet. For a long moment, the only sound was her impatient breathing. Then she snapped. Are you even listening? I exhaled slowly. I'm listening. Good. Then we're done. And she hung up. I sat in the dark living room with my phone in my hand, feeling something unfamiliar settle into place. Not sadness. Not shock. Clarity. My family had always loved conditions. They loved me when I followed the script. They loved Lily when she was invisible. But the moment she mattered, they erased her. The next morning, Lily found the invitation suite on the counter. She picked it up, admiring the embossed lettering. It's so fancy, she said softly. Then she looked up. Do you know what time we leave? I froze. I could have lied again. I could have protected her from the sting. But Lily deserved truth more than comfort. I crouched in front of her. Sweetheart. Her smile faded slightly. What? I swallowed. Aunt Marissa says, it's adults only. Lily blinked. Oh, just one syllable. But I saw it. The way her shoulders tightened. The way her eyes flickered downward like she was searching for the place where she went wrong. Oh, she repeated, quieter. So, I'm not going. I forced my voice steady. No. Silence. Then Lily nodded once. Okay. Too fast. Too calm. That scared me more than tears. She turned away quickly. I'll just stay with Mrs. Ortega next door. It's fine. Fine. The word kids use when they don't want to beg. I stood there, watching her walk down the hallway. And something inside me hardened. Not into anger. Into decision. That evening, my mother called. Her voice was cheerful. So you got the message. Thank you for understanding. I didn't answer. She continued, lighter. It's just better. People won't get confused. Weddings are about family. I finally spoke, quiet. Lily is my family. My mother sighed. You're being dramatic. She's lucky you took her in. But this is Marissa's moment. Don't make it about that. That. My daughter. Like she was an inconvenience. I whispered, if Lily isn't welcome, then neither am I. Silence. Then my mother laughed like I'd made a joke. Oh please. You wouldn't do that. I smiled faintly. You don't know what I would do anymore. My mother's voice sharpened. Stop it. Everyone's expecting you. Exactly. Expecting. Demanding. Assuming. They assumed I would show up alone, smiling, proving that Lily's exclusion didn't matter. They assumed I would accept the humiliation quietly. They were wrong. The wedding weekend arrived. The lodge was beautiful, the kind of place Marissa chose to look impressive. I drove there alone, just like they wanted. But not for the reason they thought. I checked into my room. I attended the rehearsal dinner. I smiled politely. I let them believe I'd folded. Marissa greeted me with satisfied warmth. See? This is better. My mother kissed my cheek. Thank you for being reasonable. Reasonable, meaning obedient. I raised my glass. I smiled. And I said nothing. Because my move was not loud. My move was not messy. My move was quiet, legal, permanent. While they celebrated, I sat in my room later that night and opened my laptop. I logged into the family trust portal. The one my late father had established. The one my sister assumed would always flow her way. The one my mother believed she controlled through guilt. And with 3 calm clicks, I changed the beneficiary access. Not out of spite, out of protection. Lily's name was already there. Because she was already mine. But I moved her to the front. Primary. Irrevocable. My family had spent years treating her like an asterisk. Tonight, I made her the headline. Then I closed the laptop, turned off the light, and slept peacefully. Because the next morning, when they stood at the altar, they would still think they had won. They had no idea. The wedding was the last moment they would ever have power over us. The wedding morning arrived wrapped in soft snow and perfect lies. The lodge buzzed with excitement, maids steaming dresses, photographers arranging flowers, my sister gliding through the hallway like a princess in a white robe. Marissa looked radiant. She also looked victorious. Because in her mind, she had already proven her point. Lily was gone. The wedding was clean. Traditional. Perfect. My mother hugged her dramatically in the bridal suite. This is exactly how it should be, she whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. Then her eyes flicked toward me. Approval. Because I had played my role. The quiet sister. The reasonable daughter. I smiled politely. Inside, I felt nothing. The ceremony was outside by the frozen lake. Guests wrapped in designer coats, sipping champagne, whispering about how breathtaking everything was. No one whispered about the girl who wasn't allowed to come. Because Marissa had made sure Lily didn't exist here. As the officiant began speaking, I watched my sister's face glow with satisfaction. Then my phone vibrated in my coat pocket. One notification. Not from family. From my attorney, Elaine Harper. Beneficiary update confirmed. Documents locked. I exhaled slowly. It was done. Permanent. My sister and mother had no idea that while they were obsessed with appearances, I had been changing reality. After the ceremony, everyone moved into the reception hall. Candles, music, laughter, expensive speeches. Marissa's new husband, Grant, clinked his glass. To family, he said proudly. Everyone cheered. My mother dabbed at fake tears. Marissa smiled brilliantly. To tradition, she added. More applause. Then my uncle approached me quietly. He was holding a drink, face cautious. You okay? He asked. I smiled faintly. Fine. He hesitated. It's awkward about Lily. Awkward. That was what cruelty became when people didn't want responsibility. I nodded once. Yes. He lowered his voice. Your mother said Lily understood. I laughed softly. She understood she wasn't wanted. My uncle's face tightened. He looked away. I'm sorry, he murmured. Sorry didn't bring my daughter a seat at the table. Sorry didn't stop their choices. The reception continued. Then came the gift moment. Marissa stood in the center of the room, laughing, opening envelopes, showing off checks. My mother hovered beside her like a manager. And don't forget, my mother said loudly, your sister always supports you. Marissa turned to me, grin sharp. You didn't get me anything big, did you? She teased, voice sweet but pointed. The room chuckled lightly. I smiled. I gave you what you deserved, I said quietly. Marissa blinked. What? I lifted my wineglass. A beautiful day. She laughed, satisfied again. Then, about an hour later, my mother's phone rang. She glanced down, annoyed. Who calls during a wedding? She stepped aside, answered. Her face changed instantly. The color drained. She turned her back, whispering urgently. Marissa noticed. Mom? My mother covered the phone, eyes wide. It's the trust office, she whispered. My sister's smile faltered. What about it? My mother's lips trembled. They say something changed. The air shifted. Marissa straightened. What changed? My mother listened again, then gasped. No, that can't be right. Marissa's voice sharpened. Mom. My mother's eyes snapped to her, panic breaking through. They froze your access. Silence slammed down. Marissa blinked. My access? My mother nodded, shaking. To the family trust distributions. They said I'm no longer authorized either. Marissa's face went blank, then sharp. What do you mean unauthorized? I'm the beneficiary. My mother whispered, horrified. They said, there's a new primary beneficiary. My sister's breath caught. No. My mother's voice broke. Yes. Marissa's eyes swept toward me. Slow. Unbelieving. Then she laughed sharply. This is a joke. This is some paperwork error. My mother shook her head violently. They said it was filed last night. Legally binding. Irrevocable. Irrevocable. A word that doesn't bend. My sister's smile cracked. WHO did it? Her voice rose, shrill enough that nearby guests turned. My mother's breathing became shallow. Marissa's gaze locked on mine now like a spotlight. You, she whispered. I didn't flinch. I took a slow sip of wine. Marissa stepped closer, jaw tight. What did you do? I set my glass down gently. I protected my daughter. Marissa's voice trembled with fury. Your daughter has nothing to do with this. I tilted my head. She has everything to do with this. My mother rushed forward, hands shaking. Please, please tell me you didn't. I met her eyes calmly. You told me weddings are about family. My mother's lips parted. And Lily isn't family to you, I continued softly. So I made sure she's protected from you. Marissa's voice exploded. You stole from me. I smiled faintly. No, I whispered. I stopped you from stealing from her. The room had gone quiet now. Guests were watching, whispers spreading like smoke. Marissa's face twisted with humiliation. You did this because of a room? I leaned closer, voice calm as ice. You banned my child like she was nothing. Her eyes flashed. She's not blood. The words echoed too loudly. A hush fell. Even people who didn't know the details understood the ugliness now. My mother gasped. Marissa. Marissa realized too late what she'd said. Her lips trembled. Grant stepped forward, confused. What's going on? Marissa snapped. Stay out of it. My mother whispered desperately. This isn't the time. This is exactly the time, I said softly. Because they had made Lily's exclusion a public decision. So my correction would be public too. Marissa's voice cracked. Change it back. I shook my head once. No. Her eyes widened. You can't do this. I smiled. I already did. The music kept playing, awkwardly oblivious. The wedding guests stared like the cake had collapsed. My sister, the bride, stood trembling in her perfect dress. Realizing she had built her life on access she never truly owned. And for the first time, she understood. Lily wasn't the one being excluded anymore. She was. The reception didn't end with music. It ended with silence. The kind of silence that makes champagne taste sour and laughter feel like a lie. My sister stood in the center of the hall, dress still perfect, mascara starting to crack at the corners of her eyes. My mother's hands were shaking so badly she couldn't even hold her phone anymore. Grant looked between them, confused and alarmed. What trust? He demanded. What is she talking about? Marissa snapped at him. Not now, but it was already now. Because humiliation doesn't wait for convenience. Guests whispered in clusters, the word blood echoing like smoke in the air. She said adopted isn't blood. Did you hear that? Is that why the girl isn't here? Marissa's cheeks flushed deep red. She turned toward me again, voice trembling with fury. You're destroying my wedding. I tilted my head. No, I replied quietly. You destroyed it when you decided my daughter didn't belong. My mother lunged closer, desperation spilling out. Claire, sweetheart, please. People are watching. We can talk about this later. Later. The family's favorite word for postponing accountability. I looked at her calmly. You said weddings are about family, I reminded her. My mother swallowed hard. And Lily is family, I continued. Even if you refuse to say it out loud. Marissa's voice rose sharply. This is blackmail. I smiled faintly. No. I leaned closer, voice low. This is consequence. Grant stepped forward again, face tight. Marissa, he said, why wasn't Lily invited? Marissa froze. Her lips parted. Then she said the only thing she could. It was adults only. Grant's brow furrowed. And Claire's daughter is 16. That's basically an adult. Marissa snapped. It wasn't about her age. The truth slipped out too fast. The room stilled. Grant's face changed. Then what was it about? Marissa's breathing became shallow. She looked at my mother like a lifeline. My mother whispered desperately. Marissa? But Marissa was already falling. She's adopted, Marissa blurted, voice cracking. Okay? I didn't want questions. I didn't want confusion. This was supposed to be perfect. Perfect. At the cost of my child's dignity. Grant stared at her as if seeing her for the first time. That's your niece, he said quietly. Marissa's voice turned defensive. She's not blood. The words landed again, heavy and ugly. A woman at a nearby table gasped. Grant's jaw clenched. My niece, he repeated slowly, is not blood, so you banned her. Marissa's eyes flickered with panic. Grant exhaled sharply. Wow, that single word was colder than shouting. My mother's voice shook. Grant, please. He cut her off. No, he said, staring at Marissa. I need to understand who I married. Marissa's face twisted. You're taking her side? Grant blinked. I'm taking the side of basic humanity. The hall was frozen. And then, suddenly, a new sound broke through it. The doors opened. Every head turned. For a moment, my heart stopped. Lily stepped inside. She wore the blue dress she had picked out weeks ago. Her hair was brushed neatly. Her face was calm, but her eyes carried something deeper than calm. She wasn't supposed to be here. Not in their perfect world. My mother gasped. Lily. Marissa's mouth fell open. What is she doing here? I felt my chest tighten. Sweetheart, I whispered, moving toward her. You didn't have to. Lily looked up at me. I wanted to, she said softly. Then she stepped forward. The room held its breath. Grant's eyes softened immediately. You must be Lily, he said quietly. Lily nodded. Yes. Marissa snapped. This is inappropriate. Lily turned toward her. And in that moment, there was no teenage uncertainty. No fear. Only clarity. I heard, Lily said softly, that I wasn't invited because I'm not blood. Marissa's face flushed. That's not. It's okay, Lily interrupted calmly. The room went still. Lily continued, voice steady. I've been told that before. My throat tightened. Lily's gaze didn't waver. But the difference is, she glanced at me. I have a mother who chose me. A murmur rippled. Lily turned back to Marissa. You didn't want questions at your wedding, she said. So here's the only answer you need. She lifted her chin. I belong. Silence crashed over the hall. Grant swallowed hard. My mother's eyes filled with tears. Marissa stood trembling, exposed. Because Lily wasn't crying. She wasn't begging. She wasn't trying to be accepted. She was stating a fact. Grant stepped forward slowly. I'm sorry, he said to Lily, voice thick. You should have been here. Marissa snapped. Grant. He turned sharply. No, he said. Not, Grant. Not today. The room went dead silent. Grant's voice was low. If you can treat a child like trash because of paperwork and bloodlines? He shook his head. Then I need to rethink what kind of family this is. Marissa's face crumpled. This is my wedding. Grant's eyes were cold. And you made it ugly. My mother whispered, shaking. Please, stop. But it couldn't stop. The truth was standing in the doorway wearing a blue dress. Lily walked closer to me, taking my hand. Her palm was warm. Real. My family had spent years treating her like an asterisk. Tonight, she was the headline. Marissa's voice cracked. Change it back, she whispered. The trust, the access, please? I looked at her. At the sister who thought exclusion was power. At the mother who defended cruelty as tradition. I shook my head. No. My voice was gentle. You don't get to erase her and still benefit from her silence. My mother sobbed. Claire, I looked at her too. I gave you a chance, I said softly. You chose blood over love. Silence. Then I turned toward Lily. Ready to go? I asked. Lily nodded once. Yes. We walked out together. Not running. Not fleeing. Leaving with dignity. Behind us, my sister stood in her wedding dress, surrounded by the consequences of her own words. My mother sank into a chair, finally understanding the cost of defending cruelty. And Lily squeezed my hand tighter. Outside, the cold air hit our faces. Lily exhaled. I'm sorry if I ruined something. I stopped, turning to her. You didn't ruin anything, I said firmly. You revealed it. She blinked, then smiled faintly. For the first time that weekend. A real smile. Because revenge wasn't about hurting them. It was about protecting her. About drawing a line so clear no one could cross it again. My family banned my adopted daughter from a wedding. So I made one quiet move that changed everything. And for the first time, they finally understood. She was never optional. She was mine.